Hello and welcome to Trust Art Islamic Finance Learning Series, where we explore key topics around the non-interest finance markets. Hi, I'm Bukola Akinolu, and today we will be discussing the role of Takaful in the capital markets. Over the years, we've seen significant growth in the capital markets, both in size and sophistication. However, one segment that deserves more attention and strategic integration is Takaful, which is the Islamic alternative to conventional insurance. In this session, we will examine the evolving role of Takaful in Nigeria's capital market and the broader Islamic finance landscape. Of course, our guest for this episode is a distinguished expert in Takaful, Mr. Ahmad Kollere, Head of Financial Inclusion at the National Insurance Commission, NICO. You're very welcome, Mr. Ahmed. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you. And I must thank Trust Author, especially Dr. Bashir, your founder, Oshodi, whom I have known for over 15 years in the Islamic finance space. He's doing very well. In fact, this kind of program, gives me the understanding and assurance that in doing Islamic finance is not only for commercial purposes, but also this program is for developing, creating more awareness and education in this space, which is also very, very good, and it is rewarding. So thank you very much.
Once again, thank you for coming on the program. And for the purpose of our audience, Mr. Ahmed, let's start with the basics, like what is Takaful? How does it operate? Its key types and features in the context of ethical and community protection.
Okay, so thank you very much. As we know, Takaful is just simply a term, it's a form of insurance that is compatible with the principles of Sharia. And before, Takaful, there was Islamic insurance. Especially, let me go back to, tracing the history of Takaful. Takaful as a concept and as a business venture started in Malaysia after the 1984 Takaful Act, which is the pioneering Takaful Act. But even before that, there was Takaful, meaning Islamic insurance in Sudan, which they call it Ta'awuni, and it was in the 70s when the FIC OIC Council issued the fatwa of announcing that conventional or commercial insurance is haram from the Islamic perspective. So Saudi Arabia, Sudan, and especially Saudi Arabia started Islamic insurance from that time. So, but thereafter, Malaysia, when it issued its Islamic banking laws in the 80s, realized that without Takaful, it is not comprehensive. So they went back and, issued the Takaful Act, the famous 1984 Takaful Act in Malaysia. So that is when Takaful started. But it is simply a form of insurance that is compatible with the principles of Sharia or Islamic law. It means a joint guarantee,
yes.
And it allows a Muslim or even non-Muslims who wants to participate in ethical insurance. So that is basically what Takaful means. Because in Takaful, it is not what the operator collects is not premium; it is called contribution. So the participants donate a portion of the contribution, which is known as tabarru. Then the other thing is the issue of ta'awun, that is mutual cooperation. So it is based on these two primary principles.
Okay, so what about the types and its key feature?
Okay, yes, the types, just like the conventional insurance, there are two types of Takaful. That is the non-life Takaful and the life Takaful. However, in Takaful, it is not called life, it is called family, because you realize that Sharia does not, it frowns as what you call as life insurance. But it is called family from the Sharia point of view because it is like a family investment. And it is based on the notion of a hadith that, rather than, the family members or breadwinners or leaders of family can save something for their family and for their children for the future, which is allowed in Sharia. So the types are life and non-life as in the conventional, but they are much basically known as general takaful and family takaful. So all the products that you know in the conventional takaful, from the non-life to the life, there are, as with some exceptions, there are in takaful too. You have the generic non-life products like motor insurance, goods in transit, all the generic takaful insurance, conventional insurance products are available in takaful too.
Takaful.
Yes. So, and the main features, the key elements of takaful, like I have said earlier, from the tabarruk concept and the ta'awuni concept, you realize that the fund is a mutual guarantee because of the tabarruk. So the policy holders agreeing for the full of funds used to assist in specific circumstances. In any case, for a particular takaful product, if it is motor, those who contribute for the motor insurance realize that there is a mutual guarantee. It is an identified risk. It is not just done without an identified risk. So in this case, and the example I'm giving is if you say you are doing motor takaful, so this is the identified risk. So there is a mutual guarantee among the contributors, which are called policyholders in conventional insurance, that if risk crystallizes, the risk fund is going to pay to indemnify the risk. So that is one of the features. The other feature is the ownership of the fund. Unlike the conventional insurance, where I have situation that if you pay premium or contribution, as is in the case of takaful, you are paying to the pockets of the shareholders. In takaful, it is not like this. The takaful operator assumes the role of a fund manager. So the ownership of the fund, the takaful fund, belongs to the participant. It does not belong to the operator. So that is why shareholders fund is different from the risk fund.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. As you explained, the takaful is a Sharia compliant alternative to conventional insurance, which is based on principles of mutual cooperation, shared responsibility, and ethical risk sharing. Thank you so much for your insight. So now let's look at regulatory support, as it plays a key role in the progress of the non-interest finance market. What regulatory measures have been introduced by supervisory authorities in Nigeria to promote stability and growth in the takaful sector?
Yes, good. Like I have mentioned, there cannot be licensing without regulation. So there cannot be, so the regulator that is in this case in Nigeria, as far as Nigeria's insurance is concerned, is the National Insurance Commission. So way back in 2013, the National Insurance Commission issued takaful operational guidelines 2013, which is in response to the main reason why the National Insurance Commission is regulating takaful is because of financial inclusion. And you are aware, my sister, that there is a national financial inclusion strategy in the country. So, and the regulators, in this case, NICOM, is among the key stakeholders in driving financial inclusion in Nigeria. So to support that space, the insurance space, the regulator issued the takaful operational guidelines in 2013. But even before 2013, there are some few insurance companies that are selling takaful as a product. For instance, before 2013, there are takaful is being sold as a product by Africa Alliance, Niger Insurance, and Cornerstone. But with the coming of the guidelines, so the operators and other investors were allowed now to fully license a takaful company, and that is the regulatory tool that is provided by the regulator as far as takaful is concerned in Nigeria. And there are also other guidelines and circulars that followed behind. Even the takaful operational guideline, it is called version 1. It is subject to review because you have to develop, you have to gain the market experience, both from the side of the regulator and the operator, in order to give room for further amendments and also developments in the sector. So some guidelines, some circulars were issued thereafter. Like for now, when the 2013 takaful guidelines was issued, there was no room for micro takaful. Today, as we speak, the regulator has issued a micro Takaful guidance note, to the extent that even some of the Takaful operators have now micro Takaful embedded in their system, which is also good, which is also aligned with financial inclusion. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was insightful, Mr. Ahmed, for sharing with us. And you highlighted that the regulatory support, which you made an example of the guideline that the NIPOM issued in 2013 to support the Takaful operators. Now it is clear that the regulatory foundation is strong, and continuous engagement, industry collaboration, and public awareness is also key to unlocking full potential of Takaful in Nigeria. So, could you share insights on obstacles Takaful operators face when trying to raise capital? Are these challenges structural, regulatory, or related to public awareness?
Okay, so thank you very much. You see, the very first one kobo or naira the Takaful operator, has in its fund, apart from the shareholders fund after establishing the company, comes from the contribution. That is the contribution of the participants. So yes, the promoters have to, raise some fund, register the company, get licensed. Then the very first one kobo in the risk fund or the investment fund comes from the contribution after their underwriting, after getting participant. So the number one issue is, honestly, this is not only to do with Takaful. Entire Islamic finance, space has this problem of public education and awareness. We have some instances where, you will even listen to some Islamic scholars who will tell you that insurance is just not permissible. Whereas there are, because of the limited, maybe yes. So you see, that is why even when we are licensing the Takaful companies, we have a Sharia board, and the Takaful company is supposed to have its own Sharia board too, so that you bring on board people who understand both the commercial aspect, the Sharia aspect, and whether the two can go together. So awareness and education is a number one problem in getting, the participants or people to know. For instance, today we have 5 Takaful companies in Nigeria. Not many people know. Even if you go to the side of banking or even the pension has, introduced Fund 6 since I think maybe 2021 or so. You realize you go around to the high-minded, educated, even Muslim in the country where they are working, you realize that they have not, moved their fund into the Fund 6. What is causing all this is because of a lack of awareness. So awareness plays a very key role. Then, so when a Takaful operator collects money from the participants, it's divided into the risk fund and the investment fund, depending on the type of the Takaful. If it is general Takaful, that is not life or life. Then so it has challenges in investment, because it's a restrictive investment. How do they invest? They only invest in Sharia compliant instruments. They are not allowed to invest in other instruments.
Yes.
And also the issue of asset matching liability in order to manage liquidity, because you realize the very first obligation of the Takaful operator is to meet the pay claims. So whatever investment you are going to do, unlike real estate investment, which has a long-term benefit, you need to do investment in areas where you can get money easily or liquid, so that when risk crystallizes, you immediately pay. Otherwise, you are not doing Takaful, because you have to meet the obligation of the participants. These are also issues.
Definitely,
Then
Mr.
maybe
Ahmed, definitely. Public awareness and public perception and awareness is very key for the growth of Takaful in Nigeria. And but you talk about investment. Let's look at the investment such as Takaful back Sukuk or Sharia compliant. Let's look at how it can be used to deploy Takaful premiums into the capital market.
the number one risk in Takaful or any Islamic finance, service is Sharia non-compliance. So the Sharia, the Takaful operators must look towards, instruments that are Sharia compliant. So Skook is a welcome idea. In fact, even the Takaful operators now, some of their minimum deposit kept in the central bank is invested in Skook. So Skook is welcome. Then any other Sharia compliant initiative, like if it is a venture capital or if it's private equity, which is Sharia compliant, or any like Islamic mutual fund. All these are areas or avenues for investment by the Takaful operators.
Okay, sir. We are talking about the role of Takaful in the capital market. In what ways can capital market regulators encourage Takaful firms to list on the exchange?
If the capital market regulator issued a Sharia compliant, instrument, the Takaful companies will definitely rush and invest because they are looking for, like I said, it's a restrictive investment. So they are looking for Sharia, and the capital market will help. Skook, the Takaful operators will invest in Skook, and even some of their funds kept with the central bank can be invested in Skook, because if there is any interest bearing profit, it cannot be, they cannot, take it into their accounts. So the capital market is very, very important in encouraging Takaful operators to be listed in the exchange.
Thank you once again, Mr. Ahmed, for the valuable perspective you've shared so far. So as we wrap up this insightful conversation, we'll talk about how small portion Takaful insurance is in the Nigerian market. Let's look at the projection. Can Takaful move beyond the niche status to capture 5 to 10% of Nigeria's insurance market within the next 5 years?
Yes, it is very, very possible. But, if you look at the UN regional classification on data collection, you realize that Nigeria is classified as, sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
If you look at the global, there is the Islamic Financial Services Board, Malaysia, issue annually, the Islamic Finance, they call it IFSI report, Islamic Financial Services Industry Report. The one for 2025 was released just in the month of May. Takaful contribution globally is rising. It's rising. In fact, the theme of the report on Takaful says that Takaful has demonstrated a sustained growth. If you look at the Islamic Financial Services Board IFSI report 2025, when you go to the Takaful sector, the global Takaful sector, the theme for global Takaful sector is called sustained growth. Demonstrated sustained growth. Why am I saying this? Nigeria, for instance, the last thing that the entire insurance market recorded around 1 trillion gross premium written, and about 1% belongs to Takaful, because I remember in 2023 it was around 9 billion. That's the market share for the 1 trillion. Almost 1 trillion generated in 2023. In the 2024 too, is almost the same, but there is a little shift upward. So globally, the Takaful gross written premium is in the region of around 54.5 billion US dollars, which is a very good indication. But like I told you, it is in the UN classification, it is the Gulf cooperation countries, that is Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, that own 60% of the Takaful, contribution. Then with MENA, which is Middle East, North Africa, also getting a fair share. So if you look at the classification where we belong, Nigeria, that is sub-Saharan Africa, it is the lowest in terms of contribution. But globally, it is favorable. It is moving. The trend is moving. And I hope and pray, since Nigeria, we started with 2 companies in 2017. Today we have 5 companies, and the regulator is registering more. So the trend is going to move upward. That is my thinking.
Thank you very much, sir. Now that we've seen the potential of Takaful and you cited the global market, what advice will you say to Nigerians about the perspective of Takaful, which is also known as Islamic insurance?
If you look at the entire Islamic finance, Takaful is very, very important in Islamic finance, because just take simple basic things. The Security Exchange, regulated Islamic finance aspect, whether it is the central bank regulated, starting from your assets, you need to insure your assets, and your assets should be insured towards, a Sharia compliant risk management. That is Takaful. So you realize that For you to call yourself comprehensive Islamic, for you to make the record that you are doing Islamic finance comprehensively, you have to make sure that even your insurance is in the area of Takaful. So Takaful has a huge potential. The Islamic finance industry cannot grow without Takaful, and they complement each other. The capital market, the banking, the insurance, complement each other. So it's for Islamic finance to be comprehensive, there has to be Takaful. I remember I told you at the beginning, even when Malaysia started Islamic banking, way back 1984, 83, they realized it's not complete, it's not comprehensive. That's how they came out with the 1984 Malaysia Takaful Act. So that is the perspective that is looking into the future.
Thank you once again, Mr. Ahmed, for sharing your expertise and shedding light on the opportunity and the potential within the Takaful landscape in Nigeria and globally. Your insights have been both enlightening and thought-provoking. We sincerely appreciate your time and I hope to feature you again in the future, sir.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Thank you very much. It is always my pleasure. Like I've told you, to join your company and Dr. Bashir also in promoting Islamic insurance in Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you. I'm highly honored too. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.